Awesome. Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to the show. My name is Victor Vizcaíno. I'm the host and founder of EYMcoaching.com. EYM Coaching, that stands for Express Your Mission. And today we have our special guest, Liz Jacobs. Welcome, Liz. Uh, you've just done your first Ironman. I wanted to just, have a conversation about that, and hopefully we'll learn some things. From your first Ironman. And why don't we just start by like what motivated you? What is your why of doing a full Ironman challenge?
Yeah, great question to start because every time you start training for an Ironman, the question everyone says or asks you is, "What's your why?" Because they're like, when you're in the pain cave on the course, you need to know that answer. I wish I had like a really great answer for that, but my why is kind of like multifaceted. I think I got into triathlon in a time in my life where I was going through a lot of like personal and professional transitions, and triathlon was a way for me to build community, and it was also a way for me to do things for myself. So I guess my why is just like my own personal growth and also, connection with other people. I felt really motivated throughout the race to I don't know, build off of my own like hard work years of training. And also just like, I don't know, it sounds so cheesy, but like celebrating like the people who got me where I needed to go because it required a lot of support from the people that I love to dedicate that much time to training for a full.
Awesome. And you and I did the Maple Valley, and you still went and did another one. Was it Tri-Cities? Oh, we did
Coeur
Coeur
d'Alene.
d'Alene, then then you did
Mhm.
Tri-Cities, and then you made the decision to do a full Ironman. Tell us a little bit about how that decision to do that, to register
Yeah,
for full.
it was not in the race plan for 2024. That's for sure. When I planned out 2024, I was like, I'll do the Coeur d'Alene half Ironman and I'll do the Tri-Cities half Ironman. And then I'd squeeze in other races like half marathons and stuff as I could. And my goal was to do a full Ironman in 2025 because that's the year I turned 30. And I was like, wow, what a great year to do a full Ironman. Um, and then I was looking at the fulls for 2025 and I was not excited about the courses. No shade to those courses, but I just wasn't feeling inspired by them. I had wanted to do Penticton because it was a one loop bike. And they're not doing that one in 2025. Anyway, so I was kind of feeling bummed. And then I went to like a barbecue with my friend Delaney, and her and I had done Coeur d'Alene together. And she was like, "Hey, I'm gonna do the Sacramento full Ironman in September. Do you want to do it with me?" And I was like, wait, maybe. And then I texted my coach and I walked away from the barbecue and I just texted him and I said, "Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong. Like, am I crazy to do this?" And he was like, "Nope, you can do it. You just got to be on the bike a lot." And so, yeah, talked to the people in my life and pulled the trigger, and it was the right decision. I kind of just snuck it in.
Awesome. Great, great. What um what would you say made the biggest difference? Because I know you have made such huge progress on your times, almost at all three disciplines. Um, how do you train? Let us know some of the tips that someone who might be thinking about their first Ironman, what's
Yeah,
best practices?
trying to think. I feel like they're all so different. With the swim, I mean, you know this coaching me, Victor, like so much of it is technique. Um, I think for me in the last year, like I really stopped looking at my swim time so much and focused more on form. Um, like having people watch you because you just can't see what you're doing wrong on the swim. So that's huge. And then also, I noticed my swim really improved when I started doing those like 4,000 yard swims.
Yes.
Um, Like, I hated doing them. Oh, I hated anticipating doing them. Once I got in the pool, it was okay. Um, but I remember I had to ramp up my swimming for the Ironman, and towards the end of my training, I was like, wow, I am way faster on the swim. And my boyfriend was like, well, yeah, like you're swimming so much. And I was like, oh, yeah, like quantity of swimming really did increase my fitness for swimming and like focusing on my form when I was tired in those long swims really
Yeah.
helped.
So consistency,
Hmm.
I know that's one thing you've been pretty good at, your consistency from the time you started just doing the halves all the way to your training, putting a lot of bike, especially bike hours.
Yeah, I would say bike a lot. Like those 6 hour bike rides are gnarly, but I mean, I guess you don't have to do that long if you're training for a smaller race, but yeah, time on bike is good. Hills if you can. Um, Riding with people who are a little bit better than you if you can. But if not, like I would say like I had the privilege of riding with so many people that are great cyclists. I trained with my friend Delaney, who I did the race with. We all know Lacey. I trained with Lacey a lot. And I also trained by myself. Like I would go out for like a 5.5 hour ride and I would feel a little crazy at the end, but you just do it. You just get on your bike and you are like, well, I'm not going to see my front door for 6 hours, but that's okay. And you just do it.
Well, tell us a little bit about the race day. How, just maybe from beginning to some of the stuff you went through.
Yeah, I'm thinking, sorry, Victor. I was pretty nervous the morning of. It was, I mean, again, it was like the best to have. I would say if you're doing a full Ironman, having like a training buddy, if you're lucky enough to find one, is pretty great. Especially when you're traveling. Like I've been so lucky to go to so many races that have Team Blaze there.
Oh,
So I like see everyone I know the whole time. So having Delaney there was really nice. Having someone to get in the swim lineup with. But I was pretty nervous that morning. I'm really lucky too. Like I can still eat when I'm nervous. I eat a lot in the morning. Um, Yep, we got there. And then the nerves pretty much went away by the time we got in line for the swim, because then you're just ready to go.
yeah.
And in Sacramento, no one really watches the swim start, which I don't mind. Like my family was kind of bummed, but I don't need people to see me get in the water. Like they may recognize me in the like massive like seals and swim caps. Um, but I
What you mentioned eating a lot. What time do you eat on the day of
3:45, 4 a.m.
for a 7 o'clock start?
And then I think I did a gel too before the swim. So I ate breakfast and then I also did a gel before the swim because I knew that I would be swimming for at least an hour.
So you'd say like 2.5 hours before your start?
Hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, works for me. That's what I usually do for halves too. I eat as soon as I get up, eat, drink coffee, get ready, go, and then if I can handle it, I'll do a gel or like a protein bar and electrolytes before, like I'll sip electrolytes as I'm getting set up. And then I'll either do a gel or like a bar if I can. For half Ironmans, I'm not as worried about like doing a gel or a bar between breakfast and the swim, but for the Ironman, I definitely was like, okay, I gotta get more calories in me before I go swim for an hour.
Very nice. Okay, and how about from tell us a little bit about the swim and the transition.
Yeah, the swim was great. I just like I had a really great swim start in Tri-Cities, so I just like visualized that. I'm like, I'm just gonna stick my face in the water and go. Um, so I did. And the swim was great for Sacramento. It's like downriver and you're in two rivers. One is faster than the other. Again, I like start forgetting information like when I race because I'm like, I just need to focus on what matters.
Yeah.
I think the American is faster. Does that sound right? Which one is
I
faster than
don't know, though,
American?
to be honest. I didn't, I just knew that it was a down river and your times looked spectacular on the Strava.
Yeah, that river helps you out a lot. And like at one point I could stand up because like my left goggle was kind of full of water and I was like, well, whatever. and then I could see the bottom. I was like, well, let me try and stand up. And I just stood up, like dumped the water out of my goggles and kept going. So that was the weirdest swim I've done. I've never been able to stand up in a swim before. Um, yeah, it was a good swim. I enjoyed it. Longest op like furthest open water swim, but it went by so fast because of the current. And that river is wide, so you weren't congested the whole time, which was really nice. But yeah, I'd say good swim, fun swim.
Nice, nice. What
In
was
the
your, do you remember your time?
like a little over an hour, I think.
Okay.
I can look, but yeah, like a little over like an hour. My mind is thinking an hour and 6 minutes,
Wow.
which is
Yeah, that's very fast for a full Ironman.
yeah, which the river helped me so much because I am not a fast swimmer.
Good, good. So then uh you hop on the bike. How was the bike compared to especially Coeur d'Alene course? That's the only one I've done at Coeur d'Alene.
Yeah, I mean it's easier than Coeur d'Alene in that there's no elevation gain. Like I never got out of my big chain ring. Like I never shifted down. I barely shifted on that entire. I mean you're like fine tuning your like cassette a little bit, but for the most part you're just like going. It's an out and back twice. Was the bike flat course. The only hard part was you were hitting a headwind going out. Um, and I'm strong on the bike, so I felt pretty good. My coach beforehand had basically told me like if it feels easy, stay there, and if it feels hard, it's probably too hard. So that was kind of going through my head the whole time because I everyone had told me like don't go out too hard on the bike. Um, which is so hard not to do.
Mhm.
So like people would pass me and I was like, cool, that's fine. And then another person would pass me and I'm like, cool, that's fine. Because in a half Ironman, I like get the fun time of passing more. So I had to kind of keep my ego in check there and just like hang out where I knew I could
Yeah.
stay. And then on the second loop, I let myself go a little bit more, but mostly I just kind of
Try to
just
hold back.
And then when that headwind slowed me down, I was like, that's fine. I'm not gonna like fight this headwind like crazy. I'm just gonna do my best and stay consistent. And then I let that tailwind take me back. I didn't, I stopped for my special needs bag on the bike just to get like a date because I wanted something to make me happy, but I didn't need any nutrition. I didn't need my special needs bag. And then for the first time ever, I did the thing where I grabbed the water bottle out of the volunteer's hand
Yeah.
and dumped it into my middle water reservoir between my tri bars. So that was a cool new thing that I learned how to do. And I don't know if it saved me that much time, but it made me feel cool. So that was a good time.
Nice. That's pretty good, good. Okay, and no mishaps on the bike. Everything
No,
was smooth.
no,
Awesome. Good,
yeah, it's
good.
good.
Um, how about your transition to the run? Tell us a little bit about that.
I kind of cheated on that on accident because you're supposed to take your bag because it was a clean transition, so everything's in bags. You don't leave anything laid out by your bike. So like when you came off the swim, you would run by where all your bags are, grab your bag, go into the changing tent, change, then run to your bike, and then you would leave your bag there and go. And then what you're supposed to do off the bike is rack your bike, grab your run bag, go to the changing tent, change, and then run out and give your bag to the volunteer. But I forgot about that. So I got off my bike, sat on the ground, changed, and went. Um, so I didn't get in
Yeah.
trouble, but I'm sure in a professional race they'd be like, no.
Awesome.
Um, so that my transition, my T2 transition was really fast. Um, yes, I mean, that's my favorite transition. You just take off your shoes and put on a hat and take off your helmet. Um, and then, yeah, the run I was expecting to have to walk parts of it. I went in with that. And I had my heart rate monitor on, and my goal was just to stay in zone two. So I went out and felt pretty good. Stayed in zone two, and my heart rate got high. I slowed it down a little bit. It was a really flat run. It wasn't too hot. I remember passing people or running by people and they were like, this is the hottest it's gonna get. And it wasn't even that bad. But I sweat a lot and I get really hot. So I would take ice and dump it down my like trice kit and then I would like throw cold water in my face. Um, because I just overheat. So I just did that and it also felt nice. I don't think I needed to do that, but it's weird the things you do when you're racing. You're like, oh yeah, if I
Yeah.
throw this cup of cold water on my face, I'm gonna feel better. And then you do, and you just, I don't know.
Yeah,
Um,
short-lived sometimes.
yeah. Um, yeah, but I got to the halfway point and my nutrition's pretty simple. So I just like I had one small, like little water bottle filled with nutrition for the first half and one for the second half. And then I supplemented with like maybe three gels because I try and take in, I fuel a lot on the run. But yeah, got to the half marathon. I think mile 16 is when I started to feel tired. I walked the aid stations, and then when I hit mile 16, I just thought, well, the longest run I've ever done is 18 miles. So today I'm just gonna try and run 20. Like 20 would be cool, my longest run ever. That'd be great. So kept going, hit 20 miles, and then I was like, it's just a 10K, so I'm just gonna keep going. Um, yeah, so I was able to run the whole marathon with the exception of I did walk the aid stations. But that was a really cool, unexpected accomplishment. And yeah, I really did stay in zone two until like the last 3 miles, and then I just kind of let it go a little bit. But
So
yeah,
that's how you base your pace was strictly on heart rate.
yep,
Oh, very
yep, I
nice.
stayed in
How
zone
was
two.
that? I mean, have you been training that way? Was so there's no big surprises between your training and the race. That's
No,
good.
I definitely train hard. Like my runs were not zone two in my training because I just have fun running and I don't want to go zone two. I've done zone two training before. Like I started like a year ago. So I'm comfortable with like running in zone two. And I think my aerobic endurance has gotten a lot better in the last couple years. But yeah, I've actually trained like I was running fast. I ran a lot. I ran a lot. I guess I ran less this year than I did last year. But I just feel like I'm pretty comfortable running now, and I've spent a lot of time working on my form and working on my pacing. So, um, and having that gauge of just like, hey, stay between 150 to 156 beats per minute. Just stay there, was a good gauge, and it let me pull back when I needed to pull back, and then also like push a little bit more when I was, could push more.
Yeah. Good, good. Yeah, and I didn't see you get injured or did you experience any injuries before in your training? Good, good. What has been the key to staying injury free?
Um, I wish I had a good answer. Probably a lot of it is luck and being younger. Um, my boyfriend did track, and so he's been helping me warm up before I run. So that's probably a big thing because I used to never warm up before I ran. So now I try to warm up, and I at the very least like try and like activate my muscles before I start running. So that's been huge. And like honestly pulling back when I do feel my like injuries flare up. Like I have a posterior chain, it like starts in my hip and goes all the way into my knee and my ankle. Um, and when I feel that acting up, I will do actually a video you sent me. I use that a lot, like a hip strengthening
Okay.
video. I'll do that and then I'll run slower or I'll cut my runs short. So honestly, like listening, I know it's cheesy, but like listening to your body and it's so hard to do, but like not doing a run if you know that's going to aggravate it, or running slower, or all those little things, making sure you're rotating out your shoes, not running on really old shoes. Yeah, stuff like that. And then eating a lot. Like I feel like for women, it's hard because our appetites get gigantic when we're training, and that's tough. But like fueling your body, eating lots of protein, eating lots of carbs, like not trying to lose weight while you're training. Like I feel like that's tempting because you're like, wow, I'm working out so much. But don't, I guess for me, I really set that expectation of like, nope, I'm just gonna eat when I'm hungry and like I'm not gonna restrict my calories. I'm just gonna focus on fueling my body because I don't want to get injured. And if I am not eating enough, I'm probably gonna get injured.
Yeah, it's true. And sometimes it's counterintuitive that we think, yeah, if I was a little bit lighter, I could be a little bit faster.
Exactly, exactly. But then you're just injured because your
Yeah,
body's like, whoa, I
you
don't
lose
have enough
them.
fuel.
Very true. How did it make you feel to accomplish the Ironman? How did you cross the finish line? How do you feel?
I felt really good. Yeah, I felt like very proud of myself. I think it wasn't like a crazy emotional high. I think when you're done with that type of race, you're like, oh, I'm done moving now. Thank goodness. Um, yeah, but it was like it felt like a really big accomplishment. And I think I looked back on like all the my friend Delaney says like the most insightful things, but she was like one of the things she said was Um, I've had to say a lot of no's for this yes. So you saying yes to Ironman requires saying no to a lot of other things, and that's so true. Like, um, my weekends were training, and I tried to really fit in social time too, but it was my big priority was training for the last however many months. So I was really proud of myself for my consistency and my hard work. A little relieved. Um,
What was
yeah.
the longest week, would you say, hours wise of training? Do you track your hours that you train?
Yeah, I use Training Peaks, so I feel like my longest week probably, I could look at it now. I feel like I was averaging like 10 to 11 hours. Yeah, 10, 11, 13, 12, 13, 13, 13. Actually a lot of 13-hour weeks, 13 to 14-hour weeks.
It's like a part-time
But yeah,
gig.
14 would probably be the most.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of no's. Unless you do a lot of Netflix, then maybe one no.
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. It was a lot, but I felt really good. Um, really, my parents were there, which was really special. My brother had been there for the beginning, which was cool. Um, yeah, but I like something I had talked to about my coach is like the like expectations you have, like the high expectations, it's almost hard to meet those. So it's kind of like you get done, you're like, oh, I'm done. Like what? And I definitely had some like post-race blues. I've never had that before, but I definitely have had that of just like, wow, all this expectation and like you can't ride that dopamine high forever. Um, and I think some people feel that. I'm literally repeating what my coach Derek said to me, but like some people feel that like void with signing up for another race. I think for me, I've just kind of like um reflected on like what I was able to do and I'm excited to take 2025 a little bit easier and just like maybe focus on speed or focus on other life goals in addition to triathlon. I don't know.
There you go. But definitely, you might do a half or just or a full, not a full in 2025.
Not a full Ironman in 2025. That's not on the cards for me as of right now, but who knows? Um, I would like to do a marathon, and then I think I would maybe do Tri-Cities half Ironman again, or maybe Coeur d'Alene. I hate the Coeur d'Alene bike, but I love the Coeur d'Alene run.
Yeah, it is a tough. Plus, they cut the swim. That didn't.
That was nice. It's just like it's like such a hard bike course with like very little payoff. Like you're climbing, 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 and there's like no views. You're not even climbing through the trees. Like I don't mind climbing, but I like a payoff, and I like a pretty climb, but it's not even a pretty climb. It's just like a brutal, like on a highway, like it's not it. So,
Yeah, it's a little boring. So anything that stood out from the race, everything that
um, I think the biggest thing that like stood out to me is like with a long endurance race like that, I think just your mindset going in is pretty key. Again, I had a lot of conversations with my like I coach with Derek And he kind of told me like, one of your assets as an athlete is humility. And like that was really nice to hear going into the race. And I do think that's a part of racing. Those long races is you kind of have to keep your ego in check because it's easy to like go out too hard or to change things. And I think for me, I really stuck with like my pacing plan. I kept the whole way through. Um, I really didn't push it on the swim. My whole goal on the swim was just to warm up for the bike. On the bike, I really didn't worry about passing people. I just wanted to like get in a solid bike time and just keep it up. And same on the run. Like there were a couple times where like part of me wanted to go out harder, but I held myself back. And I think that's what allowed me to do the whole run. And my nutrition is super dialed in. I have done the same nutrition for every single race, and I don't have to think about it. It is like completely dialed, and I think that's what really stumps people, is not having their nutrition dialed in. So, that's huge.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, and then just being happy. Like I know that sounds dumb, but like I think you do this because it's fun. I'm not going to be a professional triathlete. Like but I am gonna have fun because
Yeah.
that's why I do it.
So finding a way to make it enjoyable.
Hmm.
Nice. It what keeps you consistent? What I know that it's something that a lot of people struggle with consistency in any of the sports, but you seem to have really good consistency. What keeps you consistent?
Thank you. I appreciate that, Victor. Because you see me grouching about going to the pool.
You show up.
I do. I may complain, but I will be there. Well, I'm a mental health therapist, so actually a lot of the things that I like talk to my patients about, I use in training. So one of the things is called behavioral activation. And it's basically the idea of like, you may not want to do the thing. You may not feel good about doing the thing, but if you do the thing, it'll influence your thoughts and feelings. So you do the behavior and then the reward will come. So I think about that a lot of like so much of training is behavioral activation. Like you think this sucks, you think I can't do this, I'm too tired, I don't have time. You feel depleted, disappointed, stressed, right? You have all those thoughts and feelings, and you're like, okay, but I'm gonna do the behavior I want to do anyway. I'm gonna choose to show up anyway. And then after you do the behavior, then you're like, you think things like, wow, that wasn't as bad as I thought. And you feel things like success and you feel happy and you feel proud of yourself. And I think when you get in that habit of doing something, even if you don't want to do it, it does become a habit. Like you start to, like, I remember there were so many days where I would get home from work and I'm like, I don't want to go to the pool. And it was almost like a time lapse. And all of a sudden I'd be standing at the pool and I'm like, how did I get here? Like, I didn't want to be here, but my body just took me here. Like, it's so routine that I just show up. Like, I don't want to be here, but here I am. Like, and I don't want to make it sound like I always do that. Like there are mornings where I'd sleep through my alarm and I'd have to do my run in the evening, or there would be mornings where my swim would get cut short because I didn't wake up early enough. But even on those days, I would try and get what I could in. Um, yeah, so I think it's a lot of like people say, where do you find the motivation? And I think motivation isn't a magical thing that you find. It's a thing you create, and you create by doing it even if you don't want to. Like motivation is just choosing to do it and choosing to show up.
Yeah, like the generator, huh? Just
Hmm.
produce your own motivation. That's good.
Hmm.
Um, well, any other last message for everyone who wants to do it, or
Um,
what's the number one thing that you would say they should do if they're thinking about doing a full Ironman?
Number one thing you should do, uh, communicate with the people like that are not. doing the Ironman in your life. Um, yeah, communicate. And I'm really lucky that I'm not like married with kids, so I have so much respect for people who train for and do Ironmans with a family. But I would say like talk to the people who are closest to you, who you do life with, and get their buy-in. And and then also like continue to communicate with them because it's training for an Ironman is super important and it's a big goal. And I think something that was important for me is like to also carve out time for the people who were supporting me. My boyfriend was awesome. He swam with me when I was like, I hate this. So I think it was important for me, even in my training, to make sure I was like doing stuff for him. Similarly with my family, like they were super supportive, and my parents drove my bike to Sacramento for me. And it's kind of easy to get a little selfish when you have a goal like that. And I tried my best to balance out like this is my goal with a lot of gratitude for the people who made it possible for me. Making sure I took time to spend time with my parents and to thank them and to like sit down for dinner with them and include them in the weekend and because they made that weekend possible. So I would say like, yeah, it's a big goal for you and like the people in your life are gonna hopefully show up for you. So be sure to include them and support them and give back to them because yeah, it's not all about you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. That's some good considerations. Very well said. And a lot of us don't, it's so easy to underestimate the time that you're out there and
Hmm.
one thing turns into another. It's just because it's not just the training, you still leave and then what time are you going to come back or are they going to stop and eat lunch and time can
Hmm.
fly and before you know it, you're gone.
Hmm.
Time.
And then you're tired all day. Like, then you're a shell of a human. You're like, oh, I did my workout. I'm ready to go socialize. And you're like, and I can't stand up because I'm so tired. So that's tough. Even when you're not training, you're tired.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for being here, giving us your insights into the race. And you always seem to motivate people around you. You're an inspiration to everybody. And phenomenal time on your Ironman. Wow. 11:30 something. What was it?
11 hours, 49 minutes. My goal was 11 hours, 50 minutes, and I hit 11 hours, 49 minutes in like 53 seconds. So I was 7 seconds under my goal time.
Oh my gosh, that's so precise. Yeah, great pacing, great pacing.
Thanks.
Thank you.